I'm excited about this episode. I've got two topics. One, how to work happily when work isn't fair, and how to keep your team drama-free by hiring drama-free employees. I'm here in my room getting ready for a really big talk today in Nashville, Tennessee. But before I headed out on stage, I wanted to answer a few of your questions.
Jules from Wichita, Kansas asks, why does a person who does the bare minimum at work get the perks and promotions over someone who works hard, stays late, and goes above and beyond?
Jules, thank you for your perseverance in submitting your question a few times. I am glad to answer it. I'm not sure you're going to love my answer, however, because the ego loves to keep score. It loves to look anywhere it can to find a place that somebody else is one up and we are one down. See, the ego looks for insult when there might not even be one. The ego scans the environment just waiting to find when things aren't fair. Because see, the ego, it survives on anger. And so it's gotta be a little disgruntled most of the time just to survive. And in fact, the ego does really bad math. And I'm not kidding about this one. The ego does really bad math. It can see insult where there isn't any. I was in an organization once and someone wanted to show me how the culture was so toxic. And I just asked her for some proof. And so before too long, she called me over. She said, look at this email. It is proof that this place is toxic. And I read the email, and I'm not kidding you. It said, there is an ice cream social scheduled today in the lobby at 2 p.m. That was it. It might have said, love your HR team. And she was furious, and I just didn't get it. See, I was seeing it without the lens of my ego playing me, and she was seeing it through the lens of ego. So all she saw was insult, and all I saw was free ice cream. And I said, well, I don't get it. I'm so excited we get free ice cream. And she goes, oh, wait, you don't know the backstory. See, the ego keeps track and brown bags. It only sees when it's disadvantaged, not when it's advantaged. And I said, the backstory, what's that? She said, well, they plan these events at the very time that my team is least likely to be able to go. Even when I said to her, I just don't think that's possible. I know the HR team, they're not spending their time doing that. She couldn't let it go. She was like, well, and another thing, I'm lactose intolerant, and they don't even offer an alternative. She needed to hang on to this injustice so that she could stay miserable and stay frustrated and be the martyr, the one who persevered, the one who got less but did more. And I'm just wondering if you might entertain the idea that your ego might be playing you and doing some pretty bad math right now. My recommendation is that you realize that comparison and scorekeeping, comparison is the source of most disgruntlement. You don't suffer until you start comparing. And this is important stuff because the ego is an expert at comparing. And when you need to be one up, it puts you one up. And when you need to be one down, it puts you one down. One of the things that gets us beyond ego is self-reflection. See, it's easy to focus on what other people aren't doing or how they're being favored instead of focusing on what could I do to get what I want. So if what you want is some perks or a promotion, one of the things it sounds like you're doing well is performing, but that's only part of the equation. There's not just performance, delivering on what's expected, that adds to our value. See, our total value isn't just our performance. It's also whether we're ready for what's next. But most importantly, it's our drama quotient. So perhaps you're doing a great job and you're doing all the work, but maybe people are experiencing you with a bit of drama. What's your emotional expensiveness? Are you doing the work peacefully and joyfully, or are you doing it as a martyr where your drama quotient is such that, yes, you do the work, but you gossip especially about this other person. Yes, you do the work, but you keep score of who gets what in the office. Yes, you do the work, but when people have great things happen to them, like a promotion, you're not able to even be happy for them. See, my hope is that you get into self-reflecting and ask yourself what it is you want and what you can do to get that. What I hope you'll do is work hard because it's your value. I hope that you'll do better math and work hard and take care of things that you want to take care of because it grows your skill set, because it's your values that you want to grow and develop and deliver for the organization. If you are doing things just for the reward, you're as big of suck up as he is. It's just not going your way right now. But if you're doing things based on your value, that you're working hard because that's what you believe in, that would bring you incredible happiness. I hope to live every day without the need for love, approval, or appreciation, because when I need those things, I end up getting disappointed in the entire human race, and I can only see where I didn't get my fair share rather than conserve that energy and focus on creating good in the world. I'm just going to leave you with an assignment. What would happen if you just let go of all of that, whatever your colleague's doing and whatever reward he or she gets? What if you just let go of that, show it up, did a great job, didn't worry about the rewards, asked for what you needed, went home when you thought it was right, and just let it go? I know in my life what happens when I stop focusing on others. I get super happy, super quick. Life's messy, buddy. You're gonna have people that aren't held to their fair share according to your ego. Who cares? Try letting it go.
Rachel from Greensboro in North Carolina wants to know, we have had massive turnover in our department, and this gives us great opportunity to change and be more positive. How do we keep the negativity and whining from creeping back into our culture?
Rachel, another great question. What I'm hearing you ask is, as we get drama-free, how do we stay that way? First suggestion, daily practice with your team. So what my team does, first of all, we're meditators. We meditate a couple of times a day because we know we need practice unhooking from our ego on a regular basis. So in the moment, we have ready access to that capability. Secondly, we're ferocious readers. We're ferocious consumers of great TED Talks and other people's social media content. We want to keep ourselves fresh, and what you put in here affects it. So you've got to practice on the daily. Help each other out. Make sure that when someone is in story, you're not colluding with them, that you're a great colleague, that you hold space for them to self-reflect, that you're using our questions for ego bypass on one another. Now, in order to keep your team this way, you're gonna have to think about your hiring practices. There's some things I do that you might not think of that go beyond the interview. First of all, don't lie when you put out there the description for who you're looking for. A lot of people talk about how great our company is and how we are here for you and we're all like a big family. Stop it. Just give a realistic expectation. In my group, we work hard, we play hard, but be very clear. If you have a little league game Sunday afternoon and we have a big project due, the people who work for us are willing to hustle and figure out how to help each other through both getting the project done and a game. We are willing to make it happen. So be honest in what you advertise for the job. Secondly, believe it when people show you who they really are. If they had to rearrange your interview time 4 times because their schedule just didn't accommodate it, trust it. Believe people when they show you who they are. Then when you interview for folks, make sure that you're using behavior-based interviewing and make sure that you're interviewing for the competencies we know make someone emotionally inexpensive. Are they accountable? Are they great at change? Can they quickly say yes to what you need in the organization? Are they able to drive for results? And are they reality-based? Do they edit their own stories and stick with the facts? And by the way, we've got some great behavioral interview questions that I'm willing to give you. In the description, there's a link that you can access. Basically, when I interview somebody, I ask them to think of a recent time that they were involved in a project that didn't deliver the results as promised. A couple of things. I want it to be recent so they don't go back to the one time right after college they screwed up. I want it recent. And everyone should be self-reflecting and have an answer for this. We're all involved in projects. Not all of them are going perfectly. What's one project in which you're involved in that didn't produce or isn't producing the results that you promised? Tell me about it. And I just listen. And I listen for the word I. I chose, I assumed, I denied, I did, I didn't. If they start out with, well, first of all, I need to tell you that my boss is a horrible boss, and they start telling you about their circumstances, you're not off to a good start. So I listen for I. And then I ask, what was your part in that? And if it's a lame answer, like, well, my part in is I maybe didn't speak up, but I don't think they would listen anyway, believe them when I show you who they are. And I often give them a third chance. I say, if you could self-reflect right now and come up with 2 specific things that you could have done differently, I'm just wanting to test, do they self-reflect? Are they easy to own and identify? Are they involved in continuous learning? So after the interview, I like to test people. If I'm looking for somebody who's low drama, I come up with a way I could test that. If I think they're one of my final candidates, I give them an assignment. I may say, you're going to present tomorrow morning to my team, and we'll send you out links to the material I want you to present on tonight, and you'll get those at 5 o'clock. You'll have just the evening to prepare, and I need you on at 8 presenting a 10-minute talk on this topic. And then we make sure all the links are broken. We want to see how these folks respond in the real world. If you have the luxury, instead of just hiring somebody into your company, try them out first with a consulting gig, a side hustle, a contract of some sort, an assignment where you can really see if they deserve to be on your team. We will hold space on our team until we can find somebody who lives up to what we preach, because my quality of life is totally dependent on who I choose. And lastly, many of you work in states that you have a probationary period where it's fully legal and a great idea to say, you're going to come on and we're going to see if you're a match for us, and you can see whether we're a match for you. And 3 months, we'll make a decision. You can extend that many times to 6 months. I even build in up front for some folks, if they're worried about taking the risk, that if it doesn't work out and it's not about your performance, we will give you some transition monies to find your next piece of employment. But I want them to understand that buy-in is their choice, that we share accountability for their success in this role. So if they are confident that they can do it and they're going to wow us, bring it on and we can try it out. I want you to get courageous, both in your daily hygiene and the practice you guys are going to need in order to stay drama-free, and being very choosy for the right reasons who you bring on next. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've got questions, submit them in the link that's in the description. Find me at Cy Wakeman on every platform, and I look forward to you joining me next week.